African American English synonym for the general American English word awake, has since the 1930s or earlier been used to refer to the awareness of social and political issues affecting African Americans, often in the construction stay woke. Woke has also been used as a shorthand for some ideas of the American left involving identity politics and social injustice such as white privilege, reparations for slavery in the United States. The term became popular with the millennials and the members of Generation Z, so subsequently terms such as woke washing and woke capitalism emerged to criticize organizations who advertise their commitment to social injustice for financial gain, also referred to as performative activism. So this got me thinking, what was the first woke video game by context? So I jumped into DeLorean, went all the way back to 1972, and one of the first video games, Pong by Atari. Very simple game, very simple game. You have two white lines, you have a white ball bouncing back and forth. Very simple. So by definition, in 1975, when Pong came out with a new edition that was colored. So in this new version of Pong, technically it became woke because now the white lines have a gender. One is pink for a girl and one is blue for a guy. So by today's standard, this would be DEI detected. This would be a woke video game. Get that away from me. Let's review bomb it. At the core, that's...
Sorry, did you want to get immersed in our world? Yeah, well, guess what? Fucking pronouns!
What is a grifter? A person who engages in petty or small-scale swindling. I saw him as a grifter who preys upon people. You've noticed in 2024 in particular, you've seen a gigantic increase in toxicity and rage baiting and negativity and just overall bitching and complaining about every major game release that comes out, whether it be good or bad. And I'm trying to figure out, how did we get here? How did the rise of the grifter really start to just really sweep the conversation and literally become the focus of conversation when it comes to a big game release?
Challenge is Metroid. The power is Nintendo. Defend the planet Xephus against the evil Mother Brain. It's survival or destruction. Do battle or die. Metroid only from Nintendo.
Then about 10 years after this, Nintendo came through with a game called Metroid. I remember it like it was yesterday. Actually, I don't. I'm not that old. But I remember playing it for the first time. And of course, in Metroid, you play as Samus. You play that entire game. And at the end of Metroid, 40-year-old spoiler alert, the helmet comes off and voila, it's a woman. Now, can you imagine in 2024 if you got this banger video game and it was able to be kept secret through this entire game that you played? If you make it all the way to the end and you took off the character's helmet and it happened to be a woman, especially if it was one that the grifter would deem less attractive, i.e. the new MJ face, it would be uproar city. But at that time, nobody really gave a shit because there was no social media to highlight these things. People was like, okay, cool, this was a banger. So this sent me down a spiral of some of my most favorite games I've played over these years that was led by women protagonists. Games like Resident Evil 2 when you got to play as Claire. Of course, games as like The Last of Us 2 when you play as Ellie for a good portion of the game in the first one. Horizon Forbidden West, and one of my all-time favorite video games ever, series franchises, Tomb Raider, where you play as Lara Croft. There was at no point during this time that people was upset, protesting, doing this or that, because we didn't give a shit. We was just happy to be playing a good video game. That's what it comes down to. So in the words of Dr. Strange,
things just got out of hand.
When did this get out of hand? In my earliest memory, because I popped up on the scene as a creator in 2020 during the lockdown, as a lot of creators did. But before then, I was just a casual. I was working and I was ready to play The Last of Us 2. And this was the first inkling of me actually being a casual, starting to see how that seeped out online. So even me playing The Last of Us 2 for the first time and playing as Abby, not knowing much, my initial thought was, for one, who is this? For two, why does she have so much muscle? And for three, is this a trans person? And number four, why the fuck are we killing Joel? So these are all the questions that I had as a super casual, not being online, not even having a YouTube channel, just me playing, texting my best friend as we were playing this together, like what is going on? Again, the game was so good, I still finished it, and I think it's one of the greatest games of all time, I was still never upset that I had to play with a woman. But that never crossed my mind. I just didn't know who the hell she was at the time, and that was the only problem that I had. Well, clearly I was one of the few in that situation, because if you look online at that time, if you was around that time, you know it got insanely toxic, death threats and anti this, anti that. I mean, I watched the documentary The Grounded, The Last of Us Part 2, and seeing what they did to Neil Druckmann and Laura Bailey was unbelievable.
Hatred, I think, that was behind it. I was sad. Like, there were a lot of days where I would just cry.
Every time I went online, it was just, that's all I saw was death threats and threats of violence. And the worst of it, the really like hardcore death threats, got passed along. Yeah, they were like threatening my son, you know, who was born during all of it. And yeah, it was rough. It was rough.
And this was 2020, but I was trying to also take a step back. I was like, wait, was it something before then that people was upset about? So did I trace back to 2018? And this is technically when it really ramped up, because 2018, there was a company by the name of Sweet Baby Inc. that was started by, wait for it, this is gonna be the kicker right here, bro, was founded in Montreal in 2018 by former Ubisoft developers. Speaking in the video right there, bro.
Cause my name is Curry Kinchin.
As soon as I read this, I went, oh yeah, never mind. I see. Okay, gotcha. Because if you've been around, you know it's one thing that not just grifters, but gamers universally hate more than woke or anti-woke or DEI, and that's Ubisoft. So you put those two together, oh my God. And you are seeing the exact results of that combination right there, open and shut. The company consults on video game narratives during development to promote diversity, equality, and inclusion. And that brings us to the DEI portion of it. DEI stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's a term used to describe the policy, programs, and practices that create and maintain inclusive and inequitable. And DEI initiatives can be found in businesses, schools, and government agencies. I thought this was just a video game thing. Again, I don't know shit about politics. I don't know what's right, left, up, down. I don't know nothing. So I thought this was just a video game term. But of course, I know a lot of y'all may be watching this just as fuck politics as I am. But this is with everything. This is with movies, television shows, hiring. So my understanding when it comes to the politics is one side believes DEI is good and should be implemented, and the other side believes it's bad and bullshit and should not. That's the black and white of it as far as I understand it. Someone leaked a curated list that all of the video games that Sweet Baby Inc. had been consulting on. So this had been going on for a while. So once this leak got out, all the freaking anti-woke and grift, what even grifters yet? All the anti-woke people, or the people that was sick of their video games, I think all of the people that was getting fed up with the censorship in some of their video games, or the representation of like LGBTQ people in the games, or black people in the game, or Asians in the game, this group was already balling up. So when this dropped, this was like a confirmation of like, oh, thank God I wasn't going crazy. I knew they had started censoring shit. It was like a confirmation that a large group of people, a large group of gamers were looking for. And this came out with a list of the games that Sweet Baby had been working on or was going to work on. And from that point there, it was balls to the walls. And they still have it up right now. The Sweet Baby Inc. Detected Steam curated list of all the Sweet Baby Inc. games that they put together that they do not recommend or recommend. So of course, with any major movement like this, you're going to have a face of the organization. Now, at least for me, the one that I've seen over the last 2 years rise to the top of the mountain is a guy by the name of Mark Kern, aka Grummz. If you're on Twitter, you know who I'm talking about. He's the one that rallies the troops and say, hey, we're going to try to review bomb this game, vote with your wallets. As you can see, I've had him blocked for a long time. I'm not for the shits. And of course, as you can see, his full profile is all business. Grifting. Within the last few months, you have seen an amazing fall from grace. So many lies, so many bullshit articles. Just a few days ago, he shared a document that was apparently a fake NDA from BioWare and EA stating things about the game that you can or cannot say. And the fool left his cursor on top of the document that everyone was able to see, of course, and debunked it. And this is just one of many things that him and people like him do to keep the anger going, to keep you clicking and sharing and talking about this or that, because Elon Musk buying Twitter and monetizing Twitter was one of the worst things to happen on the internet in the last 20 years, because people start doubling down on their bullshit. There's nothing I watch on this internet now that I first think like, oh yeah, that's real. Everything is make-believe. Everything is a lie. And two things sell in this day of the internet and YouTube, and that's rage baiting and sex appeal. You get those two in the thumbnail going, you got a banger. Trust me on that. And that's why some creators, they go down this route and they get lost in the grift. And I've been saying this because it almost happened to me. There was a stretch on this channel where I made like 10 videos in a row that was all negative. Me talking shit, me saying this and me saying that, because they get views, they get engagement, you get more subs, you get a crowd that's looking for you to kind of jump in. And I got some people in the community now, you know who I'm talking about, that hate every single game that comes out. It's not this, it's not that. And that's what these creators do. And it's easy to get lost in that, and you just start looking for the negative in everything because you know it's going to be profitable for you. And I was able to catch myself and go, wait, this is not why I created my channel. This is not the energy I want to put out in my community. So I stopped the shit while I could. But there was many other creators, a lot of YouTubers that you probably know that you used to watch all the time, that you unsubbed from them already, or you're about to unsub, because everything they post is negative and that talking shit, which is why Asmongold got caught up a few weeks ago when he went off about the Israel and Palestine conflict that I have no idea about. I'm not even touching that. But he said some crazy shit and got banned on Twitch, and he had to come out and make an apology. And he even said himself that like he just got lost in the, when you behind these monitors and computers every day and you got people telling you W man, hell yeah, fuck yeah, let's get them. It's intoxicating. You lose sense of reality from the real world. You have to go outside the door and realize that people don't really talk like that. You don't have a crowd of people dropping a like whenever you walk past them, you know, and you say some bullshit. But on the internet, especially when you get monetarily rewarded for it, when you look at that bank account, you telling me I can say some crazy shit and I got $20,000 deposited every month? All I gotta do is say this fucking video game sucks and I get this? That's why it's done. And that's what has happened in today's day, and it's absolutely fucking disgusting.
Jack Doherty was seen looking at his phone before hydroplaning into a local highway guardrail. Take a look.
No!
I think right now it's so clunky right now with these companies trying to figure out how can we make people feel included without shoving it down their throat. Pause. And that's why you get a lot of pushback when you feel like you're playing a video game to relax. In particular, I'm speaking for myself, and you're trying to forget all the bullshit you got going on in your life and all the bullshit that's going on. You sit down at this game is preaching to you about how to properly say a pronoun or misgender someone, i.e. Dragon Age.
So I'm non-binary.
What does that mean?
It means I don't feel like a man or a woman.
If you are neither a man nor a woman, then what are you?
Non-binary. I just said, and I'm going to use they instead of she from now on.
If this is because I have criticized your dress or your manners...
It isn't!
Me personally, I just don't think that was the way to do it. And here is the most fascinating part of all this. One of the most wokest, gayest, diverse, triverse, you can fuck a bear, you can fuck whatever, successful games of all time is Baldur's Gate 3. And everything we just discussed, Baldur's Gate 3 has it. And that game, one of the greatest video games of all time, has been called the greatest PC game of all time. So if these grifters really was trying to do their job, then Baldur's Gate would have failed. But you know why Baldur's Gate 3 didn't fail? Because it's a good fucking video game, and at the end of the day, gamers are going to game and grifters are going to grift. So a YouTuber that I follow by the name of Mighty Keith, he make these amazing gaming skits, hilarious, but he's very vocal online about all the grifters and shit. I mean, he's like at the front. If there are Grummz over there grifting, and it's Mighty Keith over there anti-grifting. I mean, he's all over this shit. And I often try to put together my words of how I feel about all this, because I get asked about this often, this commenting on a lot of my videos so many times, but I don't really want to get into the politics. I'm just here to play games. I'm here to entertain you. He said something the other day that I want to read that literally nailed my exact thoughts. I call those guys out a lot, but not because I'm pro DEI. I actually think diversity for the sake of diversity is bad. I have plenty of tweets saying that. I simply see through these anti-woke grifters' disingenuous nature and call them out on it. It has gotten to the point where every time they see a black person, woman, or gay person, it is DEI or wokeness. The gaming conversations aren't even about actual gaming anymore. It's what politics are in gaming, from journalists and these anti-woke idiots. Not to mention, for a lot of them, the DEI phrase is just a way to mask their racism. They latch on to whatever rage bait they can find and feed their audience without really any research. As I've highlighted time and time again, they send their fan base to attack developers for simply creating a game they disagree with. This is childish behavior and gross abuse of power that has no business in the gaming community. That's what I've been trying to put together for fucking months, and he nailed it. That's exactly how I feel. But I also understand I came from an era where things was a lot more out of pocket than what it is in 2024, and that's just the way the world is in general, because we still do get those raw and uncut and unfiltered video games here and there, and when we do get them, it means more. Because back in the day, we used to get that shit all the time, and it was just normal. But now, when we do get a Stellar Blade, or we do get a Black Myth Wukong, or we do just get a Space Marine 2, that's, as the word from Jake Baldino, a video game as video game, it hits even different. But at the end of the day, no matter what side you're on when it comes to woke, anti-woke, censorship, no censorship, hate this video game, hate this, hate that, we all can agree on one thing. We all fucking hate IGN. That's a fact. Thank you for watching.